Have you ever looked into someone's face, not with the casual glance of everyday life, but with the stillness of a mind that truly wishes to see? In that moment, you may feel something stirring behind their eyes, a presence, a history, a story older than words. Modern science tells us the human face is an intricate network of over 40 muscles, capable of producing more than 10,000 micro-expressions. Fleeting signals so quick, they often bypass conscious awareness. Facial recognition AI can detect patterns invisible to the human eye, mapping subtle shifts in skin tone, tiny contractions in muscle fibers, predicting emotions, even intent. And yet, thousands of years before AI, ancient masters of the East read faces like sacred texts. Every curve of the brow, every depth of the gaze, every fold at the corner of the mouth was a chapter in the soul's journey, a record of past joys, hidden fears, and unspoken desires. A slight tightening at the lips might speak of unexpressed truths. A faint asymmetry in the eyes might whisper of burdens carried too long. Even the way light reflects on the cornea can reveal whether one's spirit is restless or at peace. Time leaves its calligraphy on the face, not merely in wrinkles, but in posture, in micro habits of expression. Years of laughter engrave rays of sunlight around the eyes. Years of grief carve quiet shadows into the brow. And sometimes a single wound, long healed in the body, still lingers in the milliseconds before a smile fully forms. To read a face is not simply to observe. It is to listen without sound, to touch without touch, to step into the architecture of another's being. In truth, every face is a mirror. It reflects not only the soul it belongs to, but also the hidden chambers of the one who dares to look. And perhaps, if you look closely enough, you may begin to wonder, are you reading their face, or is their face reading you? What if the face is not merely a part of the body, but a living map, a convergence point where biology, memory, and destiny meet? From the perspective of neuroscience, every microexpression is born from a spark of electrical activity in the brain, triggered by emotions, memories, or even unconscious associations. When fear surges, the amygdala pulls the eyelids wider. When joy floods the system, dopamine softens the corners of the mouth. Your face is not a mask. It is a live broadcast of your inner weather. But the ancients saw something beyond biology. To them, the forehead was the heaven palace, the eyes were the windows of the spirit, the mouth was the gate of destiny. They believed the shape of the nose could hint at a person's fortune, the width of the jaw could reveal willpower, and the lines running from nostrils to mouth were rivers carrying the story of one's life force. In Chinese physiognomy, a scar on the left side might mark a past betrayal. In Japanese ninsogaku, the brightness or dimness of the eyes could signal whether the soul still burned brightly or had dimmed under the weight of living. Today, high-definition cameras and machine learning track these patterns with mathematical precision. And yet, for every measurable signal, there is a subtle resonance that refuses to be captured by sensors. Something felt only in the silent recognition between two human beings. When you look at a face through both lenses, science and ancient wisdom, you begin to see it is not just a record of the past, but a compass pointing toward the future. Muscles reveal habits. Habits reveal patterns. Patterns reveal the path you are most likely to walk, unless you choose to change it. And that's the hidden power of the face. It is not fixed. Every thought, every choice, every day you live, you are carving your future into your own features. Close your eyes for a moment, not to shut the world out, but to gather yourself before you truly look. When you open them again, find a face, any face. It could be the reflection staring back at you in the mirror or the stranger passing you on the street. Now resist the urge to label what you see. Do not think beautiful or tired or young or old. Instead, let your gaze become still, like water unbroken by wind. Notice the subtle asymmetry of their eyes, the tiny flicker at the corner of the mouth, a hesitation before a smile, or the ghost of a memory surfacing without permission. If you look without judgment, you will begin to feel something unspoken. Noticing becomes sensing. Sensing becomes connection. And in that connection, the boundaries between you and them begin to dissolve. This is what the old masters called the silent conversation, a meeting that happens beneath words, beneath masks, beneath even the awareness of the other person. Modern psychology calls it empathic resonance. The brain's mirror neurons quietly firing, reflecting the emotions of another as if they were your own. It is why a smile can lift your mood, and why seeing tears can stir your own eyes. But here's the paradox. The more deeply you see into another's face, the more clearly you begin to see yourself. Your reactions, comfort, unease, attraction, distrust, are not born from the other person alone. They are echoes of your own history, projected upon the canvas of their features. So when you feel you are reading someone, ask yourself, am I reading them? Or am I only reading the parts of me they awaken? What if the human face is not merely personal, but cosmic? The ancients often said, as above, so below, as within, so without. To them, the face was a miniature map of the heavens. The curve of the brow mirrored the arc of the moon, the eyes, two suns, one bright, one shadowed, mirroring the dual nature of light and darkness in the universe. The lines along the cheeks resembled rivers on the earth, carrying the currents of one's life force toward its destiny. In certain Taoist schools, the forehead was aligned with the realm of heaven, the nose with the realm of humanity, and the chin with the realm of earth. Harmony among these three zones was said to reveal a life aligned with the greater order of the cosmos. From the modern scientific lens, this may sound like beautiful metaphor, but consider this. Every face is shaped by forces, both genetic and environmental, by the DNA passed down from countless generations and the unrepeatable experiences of a single lifetime. In this way, your face is a living archive of the universe's story told through you. Look closely enough and you might see more than features. You might see patterns. Patterns of resilience, of longing, of cycles that have repeated for centuries. Some mystics even believe that when you gaze deeply into another's eyes, you are not just seeing them. You are glimpsing the entire tapestry of existence woven into a single point of consciousness. And if that is true, then perhaps each face you meet is not a separate story at all, but a different verse in the same eternal poem. So the question becomes, when you look at a face, any face, are you seeing another fragment of the universe? Or are you, in some strange and beautiful way, seeing the universe look back at itself through you? In the oldest temples, deep in the mountains, there were rituals that began with nothing but a gaze. Two people would sit facing each other in silence. No words, no gestures, only the steady meeting of eyes. At first, the mind would rebel, throwing up restless thoughts, judgments, memories. But if you stayed long enough, something would shift. The surface would crack, masks would fall, and in that raw, unshielded moment, you would see not a stranger, but yourself reflected back. The masters believed this was the true mirror, not glass and silver, but another human soul holding your gaze without fear. They said such a meeting could change the lines on your face, alter the weight of your voice, even redirect the current of your life. Modern psychology offers an explanation. Prolonged eye contact can activate deep neural circuits of trust, synchronize heart rhythms, and even alter hormonal states in both people. Science measures it in beats per minute, levels of oxytocin, patterns of brainwave coherence. But the ancients didn't need EEG machines to know. A gaze held without agenda is an alchemy. It can heal wounds words cannot touch. It can reveal truths you were not ready to face. And in rare moments, it can open a door to something far greater than two individuals, a shared field of presence, a single awareness wearing two faces. So I will ask you this. If meeting another's gaze can alter the lines of your destiny, then what destiny are you shaping with the way you look at the world today? Perhaps this is why we are drawn to faces, not because they tell us who they are, but because they remind us of what we are still becoming. Every meeting, every glance is a brushstroke on the living portrait of your life. Some strokes are bold and bright, friendship, love, joy. Others are dark and shadowed, loss, betrayal, longing. Together they form the canvas you will one day leave behind for others to read, just as you have read the faces before you. And maybe this is the secret the old masters and modern science are both circling. The face is not a mask. It is not even a map. It is a conversation between the soul and the body, between the self and the universe, between the past that shaped you and the future you are still shaping. So the next time you truly look at a face, whether it belongs to a loved one, a stranger, or your own reflection, pause for a heartbeat longer. Ask yourself, what story is this face telling me, and what story is mine telling it in return? Because in that silent exchange, you might just discover that the mirror was never finished, and that you have been holding the brush all along. They say there is a second face you carry, one that no mirror can show you, but that everyone you meet can somehow feel. It is the face of your presence, woven not from skin and bone, but from intention, memory, and the silent weight of your being. Some call it aura, others call it energy. In ancient India, sages spoke of the subtle body, an invisible counterpart to the physical form, shaped by thought, nourished by breath, and reflected in every expression you make without knowing. Modern science might not speak of a subtle body, but it does speak of biofields, electromagnetic patterns that shift with emotion, stress, and awareness. Sensitive instruments can detect them, but the truth is, you've already felt them. You feel it when a person walks into the room and the air somehow changes, when their gaze warms you before they even smile, when a silence shared with them feels safe. This inner face is harder to change than the one in the mirror, because it is carved from your truest patterns of being. And yet, like rivers changing course, it can be reshaped by the questions you dare to ask, the truths you dare to face, and the love you dare to live. The old mystics taught that to meet another's inner face was to meet the divine wearing human form. That if you looked deeply enough into anyone, enemy, stranger, or friend, you would see not their separateness, but the same light that burns quietly within yourself. And perhaps that is the final secret. When we look into another's face, we are not just observers, we are participants in the great act of recognition. The universe is not out there, nor locked inside us. It is between us, alive in the gaze, alive in the breath, alive in the moment. Two faces meet and realize they have always been one. So I leave you with this. When the world looks at you tomorrow, what will it see? The face you were given or the face you have chosen to grow? Time does not simply pass, it leaves fingerprints. And nowhere are those fingerprints more visible than on the human face. But these are not just the lines of aging. They are the imprints of moments. Moments that stayed. Moments that refused to let go. A single night of grief can hollow the eyes for years. A decade of quiet joy can soften a face like spring rain. Sometimes an event so brief it could fit inside a heartbeat will echo across your features for a lifetime. In ancient face-reading traditions, time was not measured in years, but in phases of the spirit. The first glow of innocence shaped the brow. The storms of ambition sharpened the jaw. The seasons of loss carved shadow beneath the eyes. And if one was fortunate, the final decades would carry the serene light of wisdom, a radiance untouched by the hands of the clock. Modern science might call this facial plasticity, the way expressions and muscle tones shift with emotional habit. But the truth feels deeper. It is as if time itself is a sculptor, and every choice you make hands it a different tool. And here lies the great mystery. If the face you wear today is the sum of your past, then the face you will wear tomorrow is being shaped right now, in this very moment, by the thoughts you allow, the emotions you feed, the truths you dare to face. So I leave you with a question that may follow you into the next story. When you finally meet the face you will have in 10, 20, 50 years, will it greet you as an old friend or as a stranger you never meant to become? So we stand here, you and I, at the edge of a truth that has no end. You have looked into the face of another, and perhaps, for a fleeting second, you have also looked into your own. The muscles will change, the skin will shift, time will leave its fingerprints. But the question remains quiet and unshakable. What will your face say about you when you are no longer here to speak? Perhaps the answer is already written. Perhaps it is still being written with every breath you take after this moment. The mirror is closing, the silence is waiting, and somewhere, your future self is already looking back at you through the eyes of the person you are about to become.